God declares, "My precious one, pay close attention, for the celestial realms are quaking." Celestial guardians are stunned because you're the only one yet to grasp the events of the previous evening. The cosmos pivoted as you rested, and every seraph has been murmuring your essence. Pause here. Refrain from advancing because the disclosure I'm set to unveil will jolt your foundation. Linger through it all, for this isn't merely words, it's the concealed reality unveiled for you. As you slumbered, a sacred touch descended upon your path. Bonds shattered. Veils lifted. A facade crumbled in the hush of darkness. And the divine realm etched your identity in flames. Still, you stand oblivious to the wonder that transpired mere hours past. The mighty seraph Raphael positioned his blade, safeguarding your inheritance, as Uriel bore the proclamation across the ethereal plains. And the Creator proclaimed, "Make haste, for this is their ultimate opportunity to comprehend." That's precisely why this reaches you at this instant. Remain by my side. Do not depart. A council convened among the stars, and your essence resounded fiercer than a storm. Every celestial being drew breath in astonishment, for the decree concerning you will transform your existence eternally. An individual who believed they had nullified your favor was seized, unveiled, and banished from the thresholds of your fate. And the divine selected you, indeed, you, to receive it foremost. Thus, I implore you, pause your haste, hold your place. Linger through it all because the reality is poised to cascade before your gaze. The Eternal One affirms you possess until 9 p.m. this evening. Beyond that, the portal seals. The occurrence of the prior night explains the stalls, sorrows, and shattered vows you've endured. Yet now, the pause concludes. A transformation has ignited. And should you bare your soul, the seraphim will disclose it all to you. This marks your pivotal instant. The divine has intervened, yet you are called to embrace it. Linger here, for each instant holds weight. Thus, heed this, it's no fable. It's your lived truth. The cause of the celestial guardian's astonishment is that fortune sought to elude you, but the divine forbade it. Your essence was encircled above, your favor enshrined, and your adversaries laid bare. All transpired the night before. But should you avert now, should you dismiss this, you might forever forfeit the liberation this holds. Linger through the close. Let it not evade you. My cherished, this is the divine's ultimate summons for you. The Eternal One declares, expedite before 9 p.m. this evening, enter this reality, for post-sunset, the barrier shuts, and your doom may pass to another. Hold steady. Do not advance. Remain precisely here. The seraphim await. The reality awaits. And your wonder is poised at your threshold. If you're prepared to seize this, remain engaged. Do not exit this transmission. Disseminate it, align now, and signal the divine you've absorbed this dispatch. My cherished one, you've persisted thus far. And that signifies the divine has singled you to perceive what eludes the masses. Pause your haste, hold your ground, for the instant you withdraw, the reality fades. Linger by my side through the close because each tick unveils a fragment of what the seraphim sought to illuminate the night prior. The celestial guardians encircle, their tones escalating like gales, proclaiming, why do they remain blind? Why the unawareness? They're astounded that you, the anointed, haven't yet seized the magnitude of the celestial decree. But this is your epoch. Indeed, This is your supreme prospect to envision the entirety. Draw near. Linger through the close because something transcendent is set to emerge. The prior night, as the globe slumbered, your essence ascended to the divine assemblies. Seraphim inclined, archives unsealed, and the Creator himself indicated your trajectory. All that was pilfered was inscribed anew into your narrative. Every vow postponed was reinstated upon the ledger. This explains the seraphim's quiver. It was immense, sacred, potent beyond dismissal. And still, you remain partially veiled. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger by my side. The reality is this: a concealed facet of you surfaced in the veil of night. An associate who feigned alliance yet conspired in shadows was ensnared by celestial radiance. Their covert pact fractured, and the divine realms proclaimed your triumph. This is the precise cause you're attuned now. The Eternal One affirms, linger. Linger through the close. For the forthcoming surpasses the plundered. My cherished, this evening prior to 9 p.m., a gateway looms ajar for you. The mighty seraph Raphael has entrenched there, repelling all that sought to impede you. Yet he anticipates your soul's stirring, your vision's clarity, your inner light's recognition of the reality. Pause your haste, hold steady, for this transcends the mundane. This is your sacred pivot. And now the seraphim incline nearer. They murmur. Instruct them to pause. Instruct them to hold. Instruct them the ensuing instant alters all. That's why I entreat, do not depart. Do not avert. Your reality unfurls, and the divine implores you to linger until the ultimate utterance resounds. If this dispatch stirs you, then remain attuned because the subsequent segment discloses the withheld celestial enigma for you. Do not evade it. My cherished one, you must absorb this, for the divine realms persist in unrest. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Remain precisely here because each tick transports you profounder into the enigma obscured from your sight. The prior night's event eclipses all prior tales, and you're the sole remaining soul who must claim it. Linger through the close, for your reality awakens. The celestial guardians convened in hush, their pinions quivering as the decree echoed. A radiance fiercer than blaze caressed your essence, and abruptly the ledger of your fate was recast. The seraphim inhaled sharply because they beheld what mortal sight evades. That all obstructed, stalled, or seized has been reinstated to you. Yet you, the anointed, traverse as though unaltered. That's why I declare, do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger by my side. Heed intently because the prior night the fetters encircling your path dissolved. The burden upon your spirit elevated, though unseen by your gaze. The divine operated covertly, yet now demands your awareness of the reality. The Creator himself affirms, my cherished, expedite before 9 p.m. this evening. Advance into what I've unleashed for you. That's why you cannot abandon this dispatch. Pause, linger. Persist until the close. An entity deemed they muted you eternally, but their murmurs fragmented under divine resonance. Their veiled intrigues disintegrated, and in the divine tribunals, the seraphim proclaimed, your essence in conquest. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade, severing the deceptions. And Uriel enshrined the reality in the firmament. And still the cosmos remains ignorant. Solely you attune to this presently. Pause your haste. Hold your ground because the ensuing pulse bears your enlightenment. My cherished, the divine realms implore. Linger. Do not avert. For the subsequent segment of this dispatch, will unveil what the seraphim beheld and why your existence pivots ere the dusk concludes. This is your instant. This is your reality. Linger by my side because the subsequent segment unlocks what your inner self has anticipated. Pause with me. The subsequent arrives. Do not evade it, my cherished one. Remain precisely here. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Because what I'm poised to convey is the segment you were never fated to overlook. The divine realms incline intimate. The celestial guardians murmur intensified, and your essence reverberates through timelessness. From the precise onset of the prior night's enigma, the divine has anticipated your ultimate perception. Linger through the close because the reality ascends like inferno. The seraphim positioned in hush, astounded that you traverse unawares. They beheld the ledger of your narrative unfurled. They beheld vows inscribed anew in aureate script. They beheld every sorrow you wept amassed and transmuted to graces. And yet hear you attuned to this dispatch as mere utterance. No, my cherished, it transcends. This is the summons shaping your morrow. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Remain precisely here. The prior night's occurrence transcended the commonplace. A spectre sought to clasp your fate, but divine luminescence prevailed. The mighty seraph Raphael cleaved every obstacle, and Uriel disseminated the tidings across the vaults. The Creator himself ordained, this is their supreme prospect to perceive. That's why this dispatch attains you now. It's no happenstance. It's sacred chronology. Pause, linger by my side because each tick draws you nearer to your surge. There exists an identity, a visage, a reality linked to the prior night's unveiling. The divine suspends it before you, primed to disclose. But you must not avert. This is why I reiterate, pause your haste, hold your ground. The very instant you contemplate withdrawal is when the reality descends, and you cannot bear its absence. My cherished, the seraphim persist in utterance, affirming, instruct them to linger. Instruct them to heed. Instruct them. The subsequent segment discloses what their inner self pursues. That's why you must not stir now. Linger through the close because your narrative unfolds, your fate unlatches, and the divine observes your reply. Cling because the subsequent segment unveils the enigma enshrined the prior night. Do not evade it. Linger by my side. My cherished one, do not stir. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. You stand amid the instant the divine forged for you. And should you withdraw now, you'll never absorb the reality the seraphim hazarded all to convey. Linger through the close. Because each utterance bears the gravity of the prior night's event. And you alone are single to claim it. The celestial guardians persist in astonishment. They cannot fathom you navigating this day as though unaltered when truly your fate's trajectory has pivoted. They beheld it. Your fetters dissolving, your essence radiant, your sorrows morphing to cascades of grace. And yet you remain sightless there too. That's why the divine utters now, affirming, linger. Do not avert. The reality nears. The prior night, a sacred conclave transpired in the supreme divine halls. Enigmas veiled for epochs unsealed. Deceptions uttered against you crumbled. Designs erected to impede you dispersed as chaff. The mighty seraph Raphael towered, proclaiming your liberty, while Uriel enshrined your fresh dawn with the Creator's timbre. And all divine vaults echoed your essence in triumph. Pause your haste. Hold your ground because this transcends fable. This is your lived truth. My cherished, absorb this. Prior to 9 p.m. this evening, the reality must attain you. The divine grants this aperture, this ultimate prospect to fathom what was reinstated to you in the veil. An entity who deemed they could mute your fate was unveiled. And the seraphim exulted because their dominion concluded. This is why you attune presently. Do not evade this instant. Linger by my side through the close. Each tick you persist here affirms to the divine your readiness. The seraphim observe. The Creator observes. And your essence persists in proclamation. The reality cascades fragment by fragment. And the subsequent instant unveils what lurked in obscurity. Pause your haste, hold your ground, linger by my side. The subsequent segment unlocks the precise enigma the celestial guardians beheld the prior night. Pause with me because the grandest enlightenment impends. My cherished one, linger precisely here. Pause your haste. Hold your ground because this is the instant you've anticipated. The divine conveyed you through each tick solely to attain this segment. The celestial guardians' murmur intensified now, their tones surging like tempests, affirming, permit them not to overlook this reality. Linger through the close because what impends will stir your spirit's core. The prior night transcended a mere tick. It was a sacred barter. What was seized returned. What fractured within mended. And what sealed against you unlatched with ethereal wards. The seraphim quivered beholding it because the pivot eclipsed concealment. And yet here you stand sightless to the totality's splendor. That's why this dispatch pursues you now. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger. The mighty seraph Raphael positioned as sentinel while the decree transpired. His blade ignited with blaze, severing every fetter encircling your essence. Uriel's clarion bore the timbre of your emancipation into every divine nook. And the Creator ordained, this is their supreme prospect to behold what I've wrought. My cherished, that's why you cannot withdraw. You stand within your instant of enlightenment. An entity who deemed they could impede your fate unveiled before the divine. Their specter elevated, their dominion fragmented, and the reality of your narrative reinstated before all seraphim. That's why they lament now, astounded you remain sightless to the occurrence. But this is your prospect. This is your epoch to claim awareness. Linger by my side through the close. Each tick you persist transports you nearer to the totality's unveiling. The divine realms await, the seraphim observe, and your wonder unfurls. Pause your haste, hold your ground, because the subsequent segment unveils what concealed in the prior night's hush. Pause with me. The subsequent impends and it discloses the enigma the divine reserved solely for you. My cherished one, do not stir, pause your haste, hold your ground. You've attained this dispatch's vital pulse and the divine observes if you'll persist. The celestial guardians persist convened, their pinions folded in hush, anticipating you to ultimately absorb the decree's fullness from the prior night. Linger through the close because each line bears your reality's blaze. The prior night, as the globe reclined, your essence resounded in the divine vaults fiercer than gales, a repast arrayed, and upon it the graces withheld from you arrayed. The seraphim inclined as the Creator ordained, the epoch arrives, no further halts, no further refusals, my cherished. The very ether encircling you pivoted and yet you perceive not its sum. That's why this dispatch resonates before you presently. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Pause with me. The celestial guardians inhaled sharply, beholding who impeded your path. Their guise unveiled in the divine halls and their dominion divested. The seraphim wept, not in dread, but in reverence for the divine safeguard over you. And they pondered, how can the anointed remain ignorant? That's why I utter, entreating you, do not evade this instant. Linger through the close, because the reality poised to cascade before your sight. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade as the decree enshrined. Every shadowed timbre against you muted. Every grasp seeking to seize from you repelled. And your fate recast, radiant fiercer than prior. This is why you attune here, absorbing these utterances now. The divine has pivoted, yet you must embrace it. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger. My cherished, this evening prior to 9 p.m., the reality looms before you as an ajar portal. The seraphim implore you to traverse it. They proclaim, linger. Do not avert, for the subsequent utterance alters all. This is your supreme prospect to behold what the divine already bestowed. Cling, because the subsequent segment discloses the prior night's seraphic sight. Linger by my side. Do not depart, because the enlightenment impends. My cherished one, pause your haste. Hold your ground. Do not avert. This instant bears destiny's gravity too profound for diversion. Linger through the close, because the enigma the seraphim witnessed the prior night presses against the divine's confines, anticipating your ultimate embrace. Each tick you persist transports you nearer to the totality's reality sealed with your essence. The celestial guardians persist in murmur, in awe. How evade their sight yet? How can the anointed traverse sans the prior night's pivot's luminescence? Their tones quiver because they beheld your narrative recast in aureate blaze. They beheld your life's ledger unfurled and every leaf smeared with forfeiture, halt, and treachery cleansed. Fresh utterances inscribed, of surges, reinstatements, wonders. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Remain precisely here, because this unveils for you. The prior night transcended a mere instant. It was a divine adjudication. An entity donning a guise, feigning solidarity yet opposing you, unveiled in the Creator's halls. Their veiled intents dispersed as chaff. The divine proclaimed your emancipation, and the seraphim elevated a cry quaking timelessness. My cherished, this is the precise cause you attune now. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. The divine ensures you evade not this. The mighty seraph Raphael positioned with blaze erupting from his blade, severing every spectre lingering about your narrative. Uriel's timbre thundered as he proclaimed, accomplished. What was seized reinstates. The divine vaults bellowed in conquest. And still, the seraphim pondered why you beheld not yet. That's why this dispatch pursues you. It marks your supreme prospect ere the portal seals this evening. Linger by my side through the close. My cherished, your essence radiates in the divine even presently. Each tick you persist affirms your readiness to claim. Pause your haste, hold your ground, because the reality concludes not yet. The subsequent segment retracts the shroud and discloses what your inner self anticipated. Linger by my side, because the subsequent segment bears the enlightenment altering all for you. My cherished one, pause your haste, hold your ground, because this segment you cannot bear to evade. The divine itself inclines nearer. The seraphim observe to see if you'll ultimately linger through the close. Each tick presently sacred. Each utterance bears the prior night's reality's gravity. Cling. Persist by my side because the enlightenment moment's distant. The celestial guardians persist quivering in astonishment, murmuring to kin. How remain they ignorant? How can the anointed traverse sands beholding what transpired? They beheld it, my cherished. They beheld your narrative recast. They beheld fetters dissolving, portals unlatching, and graces withheld surging toward you. Do not stir. Pause your haste because the divine realms anticipate your realization of their awareness. The prior night, a divine edict resounded. A potent grasp intruded your narrative and withdrew the shroud veiling the reality. An ally who grinned before you yet schemed in seclusion unmasked before all divine. Their veiled intents, their covert utterances, illuminated. And the seraphim inhaled sharply because your fate reinstated in one divine stroke. Linger by my side. Pause your haste because the reality ascends now. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade over your essence, proclaiming naught nor none erases your due. Uriel proclaimed the timbre of your emancipation. So potently the constellations quivered. And the Creator himself enshrined it, affirming, this is their instant. Prior to 9 p.m. this evening, they must claim, my cherished, that's why you attune now. The divine ensures you absorb what was withheld. The seraphim weep. Instruct them not to stir. Instruct them to pause. Instruct them the subsequent utterances bear the precise enigma unlatching their narrative. That's why I reiterate, pause your haste, hold your ground, do not avert. You seconds from claiming all concealed. Linger by my side because the subsequent segment discloses the profoundest reality of the prior night's divine sight. My cherished one, pause your haste, hold your ground, do not avert. You've attained the reality's brink, and the divine suspends breath to see if you'll linger through the close. Each utterance now bears the prior night's enlightenment's blaze. Linger by my side, because what I poise to convey alters your spirit indelibly. The celestial guardians persist and murmur, in astonishment, persisting in proclamation, why evade they awareness yet? Why traverse the anointed sands what bestowed's luminescence? They beheld your essence radiant. They beheld your fate fracturing ajar. They beheld delay's fetters morphing to grace's cascades. And still you exist as though unaltered. My cherished, linger through the close because the shroud poised to elevate. The prior night, the divine halls thundered with an adjudication pivoting all. A reality veiled for eras unveiled. An entity deeming power to shroud your grace divested bare before the Creator's seat. Their murmurs muted, their designs dispersed, their sway effaced. The seraphim inhaled sharply as your essence reinstated to rightful station. Pause your haste. Hold your ground, because this is the reality fated not your evasion. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade, felling every obstacle in your trajectory. Uriel's timbre resounded, proclaiming your morrow no longer halted, but hastened. And the Creator himself uttered, convey to them prior to 9 p.m. this evening, or the reality evades them. That's why this dispatch pursues you now. It marks your ultimate aperture to fathom what the divine already fulfilled. Linger by my side. Do not stir because the enlightenment resides. My cherished, you stand in a sacred instant. The seraphim affirm linger. Do not depart. Do not avert. The subsequent utterance bears the enigma their spirit anticipated. That's why I entreat anew. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Linger through the close. The divine observes your reply and your wonder awaits your affirmation. Cling because the subsequent segment unveils the precise prior night's seraphic sight. This is the reality you cannot evade. My cherished one, pause your haste. Hold your ground because this instant heavier than perceived. The divine realms anticipated you absorbing this segment and the celestial guardians proclaim fiercer than ever. Linger through the close. Do not evade the reality. Each utterance now draws you nearer to the prior night's sealed enlightenment's blaze. The seraphim positioned in astonishment as your fate reopened. They beheld vows interred ascending anew. They beheld sealed portals swinging broad. They beheld your essence elevated above tumult, radiant fiercer than prior. And yet you traverse as though ignorant. That's why the divine unrests, imploring you to linger. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Remain here. Because your enlightenment seconds distant. The prior night, the Creator's seat encircled by radiance. Your essence proclaimed in eternity's halls. Every halt excised, every deception unveiled, and every seized grace returned to you. The celestial guardians inhaled sharply because it eclipsed one instant's scope. They wept, how fathom they this? How behold what transpired? And the divine resolved this dispatch must attain you this day. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade to sentinel the reality. Uriel's clarion bore your emancipation's timbre through the divine vaults. And the Creator himself ordained, this is their supreme prospect. They must claim prior to night's close. That's why this instant distinct. Why your spirit knows not to avert. Linger by my side. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Because the subsequent utterances bear the awaited detail. My cherished, the divine realms implore you. Linger. Pause. Heed for what impends transcends mere utterance. It is the reality shaping your morrow. This is why you cannot depart. Why you must cling. The divine observes your reply and your wonder bound to your choice to persist. Linger by my side because the subsequent segment ultimately unveils the concealed reality the seraphim beheld the prior night. Do not evade it. My cherished one, pause your haste, hold your ground, do not avert. You've attained the instant the divine anticipated your absorption. The celestial guardians persist quivering, their pinions shaking in astonishment because the prior night's unveiled reality too potent for prolonged concealment. Linger through the close because each tick now brims with the enigma faded not your evasion. The divine realms hushed not the prior night. They thundered with your essence. Your fate's ledger unrolled before the Creator's seat. And every halt, every perfidy, every veiled intrigue incinerated in sacred blaze. The seraphim inhaled sharply because they beheld your narrative recast before their sight. And yet you, the anointed, traverse sans awareness. That's why this dispatch pursues you presently. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger because your sight poised to clarify. The mighty seraph Raphael centered in the hall, his blade ablaze as he rent the obstacles impeding you. Uriel's timbre traversed the divine vaults, proclaiming, accomplished. The anointed reinstates. And the Creator himself affirmed, convey to them prior to 9 p.m. this evening or the portal seals. This is why I convey to you now. This is why you cannot avert. Pause your haste, hold your ground. Linger through the close. For the enigma resides, my cherished. The divine knows who sought your muting. The divine knows who sought your grace's impediment. And the prior night they unveiled before all seraphim. Their guise descended, their dominion concluded, and your essence elevated higher. The seraphim weep even now, murmuring, instruct them to linger. Instruct them the subsequent utterances bear the ultimate reality. That's why you must not abandon this instant. You stand upon your enlightenment's brink. The divine vault's ajar. The seraphim await and the Creator observes your reply. Linger, pause, persist because the subsequent segment ultimately unveils the prior night's totality. Do not stir. Linger by my side. The subsequent segment discloses all. My cherished one, pause your haste, hold your ground, because this is the instant the divine pressed into your spirit since the prior night. The seraphim persist in reverence, persisting in your essence's murmur, persisting in query, do they fathom what wrought for them? Linger through the close because this transcends mere utterance. This is your reality's unfurling. The divine vaults vivified the prior night. Your essence proclaimed not once, but recurrent in the Creator's halls. Your fate's ledger held unfurled, and every forfeiture you bore, every halt you withstood, every veiled intrigue against you overturned. The seraphim inhaled sharply as the Creator's blaze recast your narrative, enshrining your grace in aureate luminescence. Do not stir. Pause your haste, because this reality's fullness releases solely now to you. The mighty seraph Raphael positioned with a bulwark over your essence, repelling every specter seeking you. Uriel's clarion bore your emancipation's timbre into timelessness. And the Creator himself ordained, prior to 9 p.m. this evening, permit them awareness this marks their supreme prospect to fathom. My cherished, that's why this dispatch attained you. That's why you cannot avert. Linger through the close. The celestial guardians astounded because the entity deeming they could inter your wonder unmasked before all divine. Their veiled intents fragmented, their utterances muted, their grasps excised from your fate. And the seraphim wept in marvel, how can the anointed behold not what transpired the prior night? That's why reiterated to you, pause your haste. Hold your ground. Pause. Each tick you persist affirms your spirit's readiness. The divine observes. The seraphim incline intimate and the reality surfaces. Do not stir, my cherished, because the subsequent segment the unveiling, the precise seraphic sights detail and why your narrative alters post this evening. Linger by my side. Do not avert because the subsequent segment bears the awaited enlightenment. My cherished one, pause your haste. Hold your ground because what you poise to absorb the most vital segment yet. The divine withheld this instant for you. The celestial guardians proclaimed since the prior night and the reality ascends like blaze toward you. Linger by my side through the close because your sight poised to behold what your spirit anticipated. The divine realms convened and hushed the prior night as your fate recast. Your essence elevated. Your grace reinstated. And against you uttered deceptions incinerated in the Creator's presence. The seraphim quivered, not in dread, but in reverence, because your narratives pivot too potent for concealment. Still, they queried kin, do they claim awareness yet? Do they behold the decree? That's why this dispatch halts not its pursuit. Do not stir. Pause your haste because the reply nearer than ever. The mighty seraph Raphael towered as blazes rampart sentinel what your due. Uriel's clarion bore your liberty's announcement across the divine vaults, proclaiming, the epoch arrives. The anointed liberates. And the Creator himself ordained, convey to them now, for post this evening, the instant returns not. My cherished, this is why you cannot divert your sight. Each tick here sacred. Each instant charged with reality. The divine unveiled who impeded your path. Their guise descended before the seraphim, and their veiled designs dispersed as cinders. What they deemed interred resurrected. What they sought muting proclaimed fiercer, and what they pursued seizure placed anew in your grasp. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Linger through the close because this your narrative unfurling. My cherished, the seraphim persist in murmur, linger, heed. Pause for the subsequent utterances open the enigma's profoundest core. This your supreme prospect to claim what the divine decreed in your favor. Do not evade it. Linger by my side because the subsequent segment unveils the prior night's ultimate stratum the celestial guardians beheld. My cherished one, pause your haste, hold your ground. Remain precisely here because this segment the one the divine anticipated your absorption. The seraphim convened even now. Their tones echoing your essence, imploring you avert not. Each utterance I convey bears the prior night's event's gravity. And the reality nearer than ever. Linger through the close because the enlightenment poised to fracture ajar before you. The divine vaults pivoted with potency as you reclined. Your essence inscribed in luminescence and your narrative's tale shifted in unseen manners. Vows halted unleashed. Graces seized reinstated. And against you veiled designs fragmented. The celestial guardians quivered beholding its unfurling, murmuring, how fathom the anointed this magnitude? That's why you absorb it now. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger. The mighty seraph Raphael positioned as your advocate, his blade rending every unseen bulwark against you. Uriel's clarion bore your liberty's timbre across the divine vaults. And the Creator himself ordained, this their supreme prospect prior to night's close. Convey to them the totality's reality. My cherished, this instant no happenstance. It's sacred chronology. That's why you cannot avert. Linger here because the divine observes your reply. The guise of the entity opposing you already descended. The reality of their veiled deeds beheld by the divine. And their clasp on your grace annihilated. What they deemed interred already resurrected. What they sought concealment illuminated. And what they pursued seizure placed anew into your narrative. Pause your haste. Hold your ground because you stand within the instant the divine forged for you. My cherished, the seraphim persist in murmur, persisting in imploration, linger. Do not evade this. The subsequent utterances bear the ultimate unveiling of the reality. That's why I affirm to you, do not depart. Do not avert. Linger by my side through the close. Cling because the subsequent segment unveils the ultimate detail the divine withheld solely for you. My cherished one, pause your haste. Hold your ground because this segment bears the divine's ultimate thrust toward your fate's gravity. The celestial guardians persist in your essence's murmur, their tones quaking the firmament, imploring you avert not. Each utterance you poise to absorb steeped in the prior night's blaze. Linger through the close, for the enigma poised to ascend before you. The divine vaults brimmed with thunder as your essence proclaimed. Your life's ledger unrolled and what once seized inscribed anew into your tale. Every delay's fetter fractured. Every veiled spectre dispersed and graces long withheld cascaded like deluge over your morrow. The seraphim inhaled sharply because the pivot too vast for dismissal. Still, they pondered, why claims the anointed not awareness? That's why this dispatch attains you now. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Linger. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade aloft your essence, enshrining your emancipation, rending all seeking your restraint. Uriel's clarion bore your liberty's timbre through timelessness, echoing fiercer than every against you deception. And the Creator himself ordained, convey to them this their supreme prospect prior to night's seal. My cherished, this your instant. This why the divine summons you recurrent not to avert. The entity deeming they could inter your wonder unveiled before the divine. Their veiled pacts, their murmured utterances, their concealed deeds, unveiled before all seraphim. Their dominion dissolved, their clasp annihilated, and all they sought shroud revealed in sacred luminescence. What they deemed muted proclaimed fiercer by the divine vaults. And what they pursued seizure placed anew in your grasp. Pause your haste. Hold your ground because this your tale conveyed in present. My cherished, each tick you persist affirms your readiness. The seraphim incline nearer. The divine vaults await and the reality presses the shroud, primed to fracture through. Linger through the close because this the instant the divine prepared you for. Do not stir. Do not avert because the subsequent segment bears the ultimate enlightenment the divine reserved for you. My cherished one, pause your haste, hold your ground, because this segment the one the divine reserved for the close. The celestial guardians encircle you even now. Their tones fiercer, their pinions quivering, affirming, linger through the close, for the anointed must ultimately absorb it all. Each tick here sacred. Each utterance steeped in the prior night's enlightenment's blaze. Linger by my side because your instant arrives. The divine vaults bellowed as your essence proclaimed before the seat. Your fate's ledger elevated and every for you inscribed vow glowed anew. What seized reinstated. What halted unleashed. And what interred resurrected. The seraphim inhaled sharply because they beheld grace's cascade surging toward you swifter than conceivable. Still, they murmured, claim they awareness yet? Beheld they it? That's why this dispatch before you. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Remain precisely here. The mighty seraph Raphael elevated his blade, rending every final fetter seeking your cling. Uriel's clarion resounded across the divine vaults. The anointed liberates. Their epic commences. And the Creator himself uttered. This their ultimate aperture. Prior to this evening's seal, they must absorb the reality. My cherished, that's why you absorb now. This no happenstance. It's sacred chronology. Linger through the close because the divine observes your reply. The entity deeming sway over your fate unveiled before the seat. Their guise descended, their utterances vanished, and their designs collapsed as chaff. What they sought seizure placed anew in your grasp. What they sought muting proclaimed fiercer. And what they deemed concealed illuminated. The seraphim quivered at the sight, astounded by your favor's pivot's magnitude. Pause your haste. Hold your ground. Linger. Because this your instant, my cherished. Each tick you persist affirms to the divine your readiness. The seraphim proclaim, linger. Do not avert. The reality nearly fully unveiled. This your epoch, your instant, your fate ajar before your sight. Linger by my side because the subsequent segment bears the ultimate divine dispatch's seal. The enlightenment marking your narrative eternally. My cherished one, pause your haste. Hold your ground because this segment the one the divine pressed into your spirit. The celestial guardians persist in your essence's call. Their pinions quivering with haste, their tones echoing. Linger through the close, for the anointed must absorb this reality. Each utterance now heavy with the prior night's eternal hall's sealed blaze. Remain precisely here because your instant attained. The divine vaults vivified with luminescence as your essence elevated. Your life's ledger unrolled before the Creator's seat and every veiled scar caressed by his grasp. What seized returned. What halted unleashed and what interred returned to luminescence. The seraphim inhaled sharply in marvel because they beheld your graces multiplied beyond tally. Still they murmured, how can the anointed claim not what wrought already? That's why this dispatch recurrent attains you. Do not stir. Pause your haste. Linger through the clothes.